Hey, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. Matt is here. That's me. Christy is here. That's her. Alonso is there. That's him. Pronouns, everybody. We love them. They're going to talk about French Exit, which I didn't get a chance to see, but Christy will tell you all about it. I'm going to pop out and go get a drink.
Do it. We'll see you soon. Okay, so French Exit. This is from director Azazel Jacobs, who also did Terry and The Lovers,
and Mama's Man,
and many other films. This is written by Patrick DeWitt, based on his novel. He also wrote the screenplay for Terry, so they've worked together before. And it is this very like
and he wrote The Sisters Brothers. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I love that movie. Go ahead.
There you go. and the dialogue here is really specific in a way that seems to be consistent throughout Patrick DeWitt's work.
For sure.
So Michelle Pfeiffer is a broke socialite in Manhattan. She has a son named Malcolm. Her name is Frances Price. His name is Malcolm Price. And she is a widow. And she finds out at the film start that there's no money left, that she's still living in this incredibly beautiful Tony townhouse and dressing, glamorously. And, the son has gone to this very expensive boarding school that we see her pluck him out of when the dad dies. And they're both just sort of aimless and like living off the money until one day there's no more money left. And she decides, at the urging of her best friend, to go to Paris, to go and to spend some time in the best friend's empty apartment in Paris. And leaving New York is the thing to do. That's the right play right now. And so in the spirit of movies in which Lucas Hedges accompanies older women across the Atlantic on a cruise.
It's a boat. He's on a boat. Again,
after Let Them All Talk, where he is Meryl Streep's nephew. Now he's Michelle Pfeiffer's son. And they go to Paris to hopefully, lay low and find some peace and find some purpose maybe. But once they get there, things only get wackier. They encounter an expat played by Valerie Mahaffey, who is maybe the best part of this whole movie.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, given the incredible showy performance that Michelle Pfeiffer gives, like the fact that Valerie Mahaffey like kind of almost steals the whole thing away from her is amazing. She definitely changes the entire film.
Sure.
So they become friends with her, although they don't really want to. The thing with Michelle Pfeiffer's character is that she is just spiky. Like she's just drinking the whole time. She has ever-present cigarette in her hand. She's got just like the most brittle, crisp, bitchy retort for every situation. Like she's just antisocial and she is miserable and she doesn't care if you are too, and can't really hide her feelings, which is also amazing about her.
But she's also generous with homeless people.
She is. And so she contains multitudes. She genuinely loves her son and wants to protect him and take care of him. But they get to Paris and things kind of fall apart in Paris as far as my enjoyment of the film.
Really?
It was kind of tight and kind of, its own specific universe. And then once the cast of characters expands, it gets a little wackier. You have this fortune teller from the cruise who ends up being part of things, played by Danielle Macdonald. You have a private eye played by, is it Isaach de Bankole?
Yeah.
That's how you say it. And then Lucas Hedges' previous fiance, Imogen Poots, shows up with her new fiance. And like once the cast of characters expands, it kind of loses it for me. But I love Michelle Pfeiffer in this. And I love the surreal nature and the specificity of the language.
I love the expanding cast. Like to me, it felt like partially a screwball comedy and partially something like Mistress America, where it's just like, we're just going to get all of these characters in the same room and see how they bounce off each other. Like for some reason, once the former fiance shows up, like everybody moves into Michelle Pfeiffer's apartment, including Valerie Mahaffey, who has her own place, and Isaach de Bankole, who presumably has his own place. But no, they're all just sleeping on the pull-out sofa. Why not? Like, and I just kind of went with that because it just made me laugh. And I thought the characters were so fun and I liked interacting with them. the title. It's funny. I posted on Facebook yesterday that I was watching it, and people were making jokes about the title. I'm like, do y'all not know that French exit is an old expression, maybe I guess not used very much anymore, for it's a euphemism for committing suicide. And that is sort of the underlying thing here, where Michelle Pfeiffer's character is kind of talking about like, I think I'll die when the money runs out. And she's got these stacks of euros that are in the closet, and then she starts sort of intentionally burning through them faster, like she's ready to kind of move on. And then there's a whole subplot about her late husband, played by Tracy Letts, being having been reincarnated as her cat. And then the psychic has to get in touch with the cat because the cat runs away, and they need to figure out where he is. And then she has these conversations with Tracy Letts at these seances, and I'm like, okay, I just went with it. Like if you presented this stuff to me on paper, it would sound just unbearably twee and ridiculous. But because you're invested in Michelle Pfeiffer and to an extent Lucas Hedges and certainly Valerie Mahaffey, I just kind of went wherever this movie wanted to go. I mean, even the introduction of the Danielle Macdonald character, like we first see her as a fortune teller telling a woman she's going to die, which upsets the woman and gets Danielle Macdonald thrown to the brig on the ship. But then the woman does die. And we find out that apparently a lot of people do on these transatlantic crosses. I don't know. I just, it's one of those things. It's kind of like Barb and Star, where you hop on board to it or you do not. And I did. I hopped on board and I had a great time.
I wish it were like wall to wall Tracy Letts talking cat. I'd be down for that. There was not nearly enough of that for my personal liking. We're going to lean into that, lean in hard. I love Valerie Mahaffey, though. We haven't really described her very much because she's everything that Michelle Pfeiffer isn't. She's vulnerable and she's a little awkward and she's really genuinely sweet. And so the scene where she invites Francis and Malcolm over for dinner is so exquisitely awkward and so sad because she's like really put herself out to these people who are clearly in like the similar social circle, but like a higher tier. And like this, I guess Francis is notorious within New York society. And so her downfall is that much more tragic or that much more scandalous to gossip about. But here's somebody who genuinely wants to be friends with her. And the way all that goes down is like so sweet and so heartbreaking. But she also, in her genuine way, like changes the course of the film because once they introduce her, everything else follows. All the warmth and the welcoming that you talk about with everyone kind of like moving in together happens because of her. So I really love her for that. She's a Spirit Award nominee for supporting.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
One thing I got confused about, the woman whose apartment it is who gives Michelle Pfeiffer the keys, is that her friend or her sister?
That's her best friend.
Her best friend.
That's her best friend, Joan, played by Susan Coyne, who, again, I love everything with the two of them because in a world where everything is so arch and so like at arm's length and so self-aware, like that friendship feels real and grounded.
Like this is the one person that Michelle Pfeiffer can sort of let her hair down around.
Yeah. And speaking of hair, her mane, her auburn mane with the blonde streaks is magnificent. And all her clothes, I want to shout out the costume designer, James Petrie, because like everything Michelle Pfeiffer wears, like the silk pussy bow blouses and like her full length fur trimmed wool coat, like everything is so perfect and like timeless. You kind of can't place where in time this is because maybe it's now, but like Lucas Hedges uses a payphone to call Imogen Poots back.
Yes, true.
and like people write postcards in this world. Like
there's no one has a laptop in this movie.
and things that bring people together could have been taken care of with a text, but you need the complicated machinery of getting all the characters together. And so it feels sort of out of time, like frozen in time in the 80s, maybe. There's like a conspicuous consumption New York element here that feels like it's 80s to me. I don't know.
The one thing I could think of that would ground this as being contemporary is the inside of the cruise ship.
Okay.
Like that wall of lights and stuff, and like the garishness of the casino, and how those casino games seem fairly contemporary. But that's the one moment where it feels like we're on Earth. You're right. The rest of the movie, like the cars are old, and everybody's sort of like, you're right. The looks are classic, so it's really hard to pin down any specifics on that. But this is a movie about rich white people,
and I love
okay with that.
sad rich white people movies. I do, and so I enjoy that about this too. I am saying 7.6. I've watched this twice. The first time I saw it, I was like, why should I care about these people? They're all kind of awful. The second time I watched it, I really appreciated just the delicacy of the Michelle Pfeiffer performance, and like the technique of it, and the evolution of it. And so I watched it again and liked it better. So 7.6 from me.
I gave it an 8. I was thoroughly charmed, and I thought it was really funny. And I loved watching these characters. Like Michelle Pfeiffer gets some insanely brittle one-liners, but she also is still a human being in this.
Yeah. So our number is a 7.8. French Exit. Hello, Matt is back. French Exit is out there streaming somewhere. Yes.
Yes, it is rentable on the internet. So please check it out.
It's been out for a couple of weeks, I want to say.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out at BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Do visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Getting very close to wrapping up the first seasons of both WandaVision and Bridgerton. And because our subscribers chose it for us, our classic off the menu of the month will be Eve's Bayou, directed by Casey Lemons, starring Lynn Whitfield and Sam Jackson, and a very young Journey Smollett. So that's going to be very exciting. And coming up on Marvel Monday, Christy.
Marvel Monday is Iron Man 2, the sequel to Iron Man, which is a movie I didn't like at all the first time I saw it, but I liked it slightly better this time. Nick dug it because Nick thought it was funny and he enjoyed Whiplash. So we have a fun conversation about that. So join us on Monday for our Marvel Monday talk of Iron Man 2.
You get Black Widow in a hallway. That made the movie for me. All right. Have a good week, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.